Thank you so much. Thank you, Ray. Thank you, everybody who volunteers and contributes to NewMR, for inviting me to speak today on the future of data collection. I'm quite pleased to be here, and I guess many of us would agree that these are interesting times, and I believe that we have an opportunity to really broaden our ecosystem and truly embrace the shifts in the industry, not only to just survive, but to actually thrive. It's a big topic to think about, and so I try to break it down into some easy ways to look at the topic. So as I prepared for this, I kind of broke it down into three sections. Where are we today with online data collection? What are some of the drivers for change? And just share some thoughts and perspectives for what the future could hold. I think similar to what Andrew was saying, there's a lot of fragmentation and a lot of change afoot, and so there are many different scenarios that we could be facing in the future. So where are we today? I don't think that our industry is any different from what's happening in the world around us. We're all dealing and trying to figure out security issues as it relates to data collection. We're evolving quality practices, and I think once you think you're done, you're starting again, because we have to continue to evolve. We're trying to sort out respondent engagement in terms of which device do we use, how long is the questionnaire, what's that right balance, and obviously we're guarding against declining response rate and attrition. I don't mean to sound like doom and gloom, and I think these are issues that we've all seen, and we probably are talking about them a little bit more, and there's more initiatives around it to try to solve these things. I don't think there's a silver bullet, quite frankly, that gets to the heart of the matter, but it's an incremental progress. One of the biggest drivers for change is technology in my mind. Technology is helping us enhance workflows. It helps us process information a lot faster, create some customization and scale. Solutions like big data, machine learning, these new consumer technology products that allow us to interact with voice and leverages artificial intelligence are all solutions that can help us evolve as an industry. On the flip side, it causes havoc in terms of security and quality, but for the most part, there's benefit in the technology. I do think that the technology solutions, however, are enablers for us. They help us do better work. They help us provide better insight. They're not necessarily a replacement for what we do. So I wanted to take even a step further back in terms of the definition of our industry, and I got bits and pieces of this from the SMR website. Because we're going through such a fundamental shift in terms of our industry and data collection, I wanted to go back to the fundamental and saying, what is the definition of our industry? And what really stands out to me and is central, it's about listening and understanding to people's points of views and interpreting the information to help brands and organizations make decisions. It's about analyzing and interpreting the right data set and information. Nowhere in this definition does it speak to a mode or a methodology in which we do this. It's broad, and it allows us to really be very flexible in terms of what we do. So, what's the future hold? I believe in the future, if we really want to get this right, if we really want to evolve, we have to look at respondents as customers. We help brands and client organizations all day long in terms of identifying who their target market is, what their needs are, and what the value propositions we're going to deliver to them. We don't do that with our respondents. We need to think about delighting them and understanding what are their motivations and listening to them and really starting to flip how we look at respondents in this formula. I'd even argue and say that, or ask us to think about, what would respondents actually buy into being part of our data collection panels? Now, respondents aren't actually going to buy into it, but they do technically buy in with their attention. The time they spend with us is really something that they can never replace. And so how much do we value respondents' time and attention that they engage with us? We did some research here and we said, okay, if we had to start from the very beginning and really thought about how do we get, and this is more on the B2B side, how do we get respondents to participate with us? One of the key drivers was a sense of community. They wanted to be with like-minded people. They wanted to share experiences. They wanted to really feel that sense of community. The second was education. Respondents are going through major changes in their businesses, in their kind of professional areas. Education really ranked high in terms of trying to understand the value driver. The third one was information. So we did actually a study that focused on a very low incidence group. And we actually called people before we sent them the survey. And when we called them and we talked to them about what the survey was about, we asked them, how would you like to be reciprocated for your time? And the number one thing was, don't worry about paying me. I would just love to see some information as to what you find. So really making them feel like they're part of the process. And obviously there was some monetary compensation as well that was of interest. If we look at our respondents' customers, then we also look at their experience, the entire experience from start to finish. There's so many people in our industry today that say, I would never fill out that survey. It's way too long. But we can't say that anymore. We have to be able to say that we can walk the talk. We have to be able to, we are professionals and we want people like us to fill out surveys. So I would actually argue that we need to start thinking about surveys from a UX perspective. And we're seeing some of this in terms of doing mobile first surveys. We're seeing gamification and other methodologies as well. Again, focusing on quality, focusing on the respondent as being the customer. We clearly are supporting global brands that need global research, but I would also say that we probably will see more panels that specialize locally in their markets and really understand the nuances of what's going on in that marketplace. Some countries, there's population migration, there's lack of market structure data, and the accessibility to some of these respondents is very unique than just one size fits all. I would be remiss if I didn't mention blockchain. I am not an expert in blockchain. I've done some research. I've talked to experts, and my understanding is, and my thought is that blockchain will play a role in our ecosystem. I believe it does enhance a respondent's experience because we're not asking repetitive questions. They can answer it once and we can store that data. It does empower a respondent because they can value their own data and define what that value is. Definitely secure and verifiable. And I do believe that a lot of data collection companies could potentially create private networks where they have blockchain integrated. With the proliferation of devices, there is, and I want to thank the Consumer Technology Association for this information. We're seeing the proliferation of the devices everywhere, emerging smartwatches. So new devices basically give us fresh respondents. We will be able to access respondents in any Wi-Fi enabled device, and as a result, we will get more people to participate with us in research. In addition, these devices will give us another platform, either it's voice, more voice activated surveys, smaller question types, and we'll basically be able to expand the ecosystem. I just actually learned from a colleague of mine who was just at a conference, and they said that Keurig, the coffee maker, actually created their own panel using Wi-Fi coffee makers. Data science and MR partnerships. So I've talked to data scientists just to understand what's happening in that area, and really pulled kind of what the core skills are of data scientists and what they focus on. And if you look at the core skills, they're not very different from what we have in research. It's solving business-related problems, it's staying on top of analytical techniques, it's collaborating with both IT and business, finding patterns in data, and the real uniqueness here is the technical language to be able to work with unstructured data. I believe that there's a real opportunity for us to partner with data scientists and blend our skills to be able to bring the business savvy, the research objectives, and work with data scientists to provide some robust, unique data sets. And with all this data, there's no doubt, and we're seeing it now, there is no doubt that we will see more mixed mode methodologies. People need to put a face or a voice to the consumers, and it will be complemented. A lot of the quantitative data in my mind will be complemented with either audio, video, pictures, images to provide a deeper connection to the quantitative findings. And my last point here I will make is that I believe that trust and ethics will really differentiate companies in the future. I learned an astonishing fact a couple weeks ago that in the US, a consumer is presented with about 72 pages of privacy policies in a year. We know for a fact that people are not reading these policies, and it's a very small percentage of people who truly understand what they're signing. I believe as our industry continues to grow, it will thrive as we become more transparent with respondents in terms of what we expect from them and what they're engaging with us for, the goals and objectives of what we're trying to do with them and their data. It'll build trust, and it will create repeat engagement and loyalty. I similarly think that we can partner with clients and truly be transparent with some of the challenges that we face and partner to build the right solutions as from the perspective of a data set. And with that, Ray, I'm going to hand it back to you. This is my contact information.